Welcome to my YouTube channel India. So viewers, what do you have planned for 900 p.m. today? Well, whatever it is, let us tell you it is a global first that we will be bringing to you at India Today here because it is the biggest exclusive of 2025. Russian President Vladimir Putin, India's all-weather duo global power figure who has stood by New Delhi through thick and thin will be speaking to an Indian network for the very first time. Ahead of his India visit, President Putin sits down for a candid, forthright, no-holds-barred interview, 100-minute-long conversation, unfiltered, unrestrained and uncensored. From the Ukraine war to Trump's threats, nothing is off the table in this global super exclusive. This mega agenda-setting interview is already creating global waves. The world is watching closely, be it the United States or China, because Putin has chosen India's most viewed, most trusted network, India Today. Vladimir Putin like never before. The unmissable interview tonight here at 9 p.m. So yes, do set your clock as we will be airing it here for you. Twisting methods that are being adopted, and I name it's America. How do you plan to circumvent all this? Will you pull back or push harder? Well, it's definitely one of the most awaited conversations that we are looking at. But with that, Prana also joining me on the broadcast for a very crucial India-Russia summit that's to take place with Vladimir Putin visiting India for the first time after the war that began in 2022 against Ukraine. Renee, very good morning to you. It's an exciting day for sure because yes, President Putin has spoken to us on India Today, which we will be bringing to our viewers. But before that, let's quickly take a look at what's on the table when we speak of Prime Minister Modi and President Putin's bilateral meeting that is to take place. There's a lot riding on this very meeting, and it comes in at a crucial time where there have been tariffs that have been imposed on India because of our crude oil imports from Russia. There is a lot of negotiations that we're discussing of, be it defense, be trade. What are you looking at as the topmost priority between these two leaders when we speak of a bilateral talk? Indeed, a very exciting day of visa. Definitely it's an important day as well because Russian President Vladimir Putin is, as you know, in just few hours he'll set to embark on a very important and crucial India visit, and ahead of the visit he spoke to India Today in TV Today Network India Today and Ashed both, and it was a no-holds-bar interview. You will get to hear from him that what he thinks about President Donald Trump, what he thinks about India-Russia relationship, what he thinks about the global order, what is his vision about Russia, what is his plan as far as the secession of Russia-Ukraine conflict is concerned, what he thinks about the plan proposed by the U.S. side as far as the Russia-Ukraine conflict is concerned, the 19-point program. This is his first interview after he had a meeting with Steve Cobb and Jared Kushner, so a lot of things people will get to hear from President Donald Trump in that mega-exclusive global exclusive interview. But as far as the India agenda is concerned, as far as this visit is concerned, definitely this will be the agenda-setting visit and a roadmap-setting visit of President Donald Trump. President Putin in terms of how India and Russia want to take the relationship forward in next decade, because on one side we will be talking there will be discussion about the traditional the areas of cooperation between India and Russia, including defense, energy, and other strategic sectors. But besides that, how India and Russia can come together and collaborate in terms of people-to-people contact in the health sector, in agriculture sector, how India and Russia can achieve the target of $100 billion bilateral trade by 2030. Also a business delegation is also coming accompanying President Vladimir Putin in his visit. He'll also accompanying 7 of his cabinet colleagues, including the Defense Minister of Russia, including Finance Minister of Russia, and the Transport Minister of Russia. So all these Cabinet Minister of Russia will be accompanying President Vladimir Putin, and both Prime Minister Modi and President Vladimir Putin are expected to address a huge India-Russia business forum on 5th of December, and before that he will be holding a restricted talk delegation level talks with Prime Minister Modi. Lot of excitement is there, and as you mentioned, this is his first visit after Russia-Ukraine conflict broke out, and then all eyes will be on his visit to India, because this is a statement from the Russian president, and this is also a statement from the Indian foreign policy as well, because Australia, if you see, India want to give out a message that we exercise the independence of our foreign policy. Our foreign policy is free from any external pressure, and we do not keep relation with any one country burdened by other countries. So very true. Yes, very true. We'll take it one by one as to what all are we looking at when we are speaking of this very meeting. But let me just quickly take our viewers up to date with all that is to happen with this very meeting that is to take place itself. Today evening is when he arrives, and it's only hours after the exclusive interview that he's given to India today itself that Russian President Vladimir Putin is to be arriving in India for a 2-day visit. Now India is hosting the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit, and the visit's focus is on strengthening that very strategic partnership between the two nations, which is underway for roughly almost 15 years now. This will be Putin's first visit to India. Remember, since Russia launched its war on Ukraine in February 2022, which is why it is a very crucial meeting that we're discussing of course, the two leaders have met on the sidelines of several other summits, but this will be President Vladimir Putin's first visit to India since 2021. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, remember, will be hosting for him a private dinner this evening at the official residence itself at Kalyan. The state visit, however, begins next morning, that is on December 5th, with a ceremonial welcome at Rashtrapati Bhavan followed by a tri-service guard of honor. Putin will be also paying his respects at the Rajghat before holding a formal bilateral talk with Prime Minister Modi at the Hyderabad house. Major announcements and EU signings are expected after the very summit takes place. India's oil imports from Russia in the wake of US sanctions will be at the top of the agenda. That is what all our eyes are set on, and that's what we are learning so far. Defense cooperation shall also be featuring prominently during these very talks, and India will be looking to negotiate a new payment framework for trade, including additional S-400 Triumph air defense systems, as well as talks on the purchase of Su-57 stealth fighter jets as per sources. Now India and Russia are expected to sign agreements covering trade, health, agriculture, media and cultural exchanges during Putin's visit itself. So this is all that's on the table so far when we speak of what we have gathered about the visit and the bilateral talk that is to take place, that we are bringing to you up to date with and keeping a close track of all that's happening on that very front.